Mercy stood in the middle of the busy Port Harcourt road, frozen like a statue. Her eyes were swollen from crying all night. Her clothes were dusty and wrinkled. Her small bag hung from her tired shoulders. She didn't hear the car horn. She didn't see the black SUV speeding toward her. Her mind was somewhere else, somewhere dark and painful. The tires screamed against the road. The car swerved hard and stopped just inches away from her body. The driver jumped out, his face red with anger. "Are you crazy?" he shouted. "Do you want to die? Are you blind?" Mercy said nothing. Her knees felt weak. Her head dropped low. She had no strength left to speak or even move. Hello family, welcome back. Please take a moment to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. It truly means a lot to us. Don't forget to share it with your friends and loved ones and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. So sit back and relax as we dive into the story. The man walked closer, his voice still loud. "I'm talking to you. You almost got yourself killed." But when he looked at her face, something changed. His anger melted away like ice under the sun. He saw her tear-streaked cheeks. He saw her trembling hands. He saw the pain written all over her. "Are you okay?" he asked, this time softly. Mercy slowly raised her eyes to meet his. Her voice cracked when she finally whispered, "No, I'm not okay." The man stared at her for a moment. He noticed everything: her worn-out wrapper, her dusty sandals, the small travel bag that looked like it carried everything she owned. He took a deep breath and stepped closer. "What happened to you?" Mercy opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her throat was dry. Her lips were cracked. Her mind was still spinning from everything that had happened the night before. The man looked around. People were rushing to work. Cars were honking. Hawkers were shouting prices. But he only saw her. "Come," he said gently. "There's a place down the road where we can sit. You need water. Maybe food too." Mercy looked at him again. She didn't know this man. She didn't trust easily anymore. Not after what had happened to her. Not after the lies. Not after the betrayal. But her legs ached. Her head spun. Her stomach growled with hunger. And this man, he wasn't forcing her. He wasn't touching her. He was simply waiting. For the first time since she was thrown out, Mercy nodded. He led her quietly to a nearby cafe that had just opened for the day. The waiter looked at Mercy's dirty clothes but said nothing when he saw the man's expensive watch. They sat down. The man ordered bottled water and hot tea. As they waited, he turned to her and said, "My name is Benjamin. Can you tell me yours?" "Mercy," she whispered. "Mercy," he repeated softly. "That's a beautiful name. But you don't look graceful today." She gave a small, bitter smile. "Because I have no mercy left." The water arrived. Mercy opened it with shaking hands and drank deeply. Her throat burned, but she didn't stop. Then slowly, like a dam breaking, her story began to pour out. But what had happened to Mercy? Why was she on the streets? And who was this stranger who stopped to help her? Mercy told Benjamin everything. She told him about working as a housemaid for the Williams family in a big estate in Lagos. She told him about her sick mother back in Enugu who had diabetes and needed insulin every month. She told him how hard she worked every single day. How she woke up before the sun rose. How she cleaned, cooked, ironed clothes and took care of the children. How she did everything with a smile even when her body ached. Then her voice broke when she talked about Mr. Williams. "He started watching me," Mercy said, her hands shaking. "At first I thought I was imagining it. But then he started calling me upstairs for small things. He would say my name in a strange way." Benjamin listened without interrupting. His face was serious but kind. "One day he cornered me in his study," Mercy continued, tears filling her eyes. "He said terrible things. He tried to touch me. I told him to stop. I said I would tell his wife." She wiped her face with the back of her hand. "That's when everything changed. He went to his wife first. He lied to her. He told her that I was the one trying to seduce him." Benjamin's jaw tightened, but he stayed quiet. "Mrs. Williams didn't even ask me what happened," Mercy sobbed. "She didn't listen. She just believed him. She called me a shameless girl. She said I was trying to destroy her home." Mercy's voice dropped to a whisper. "She threw me out like trash. The security men dragged me to the gate. They threw my bag outside. The gate slammed shut behind me." She looked down at her hands. "I had nowhere to go. No money. My last salary was supposed to come in a few days, but now it's gone. I spent the night sleeping under an abandoned shop. There were rats and mosquitoes everywhere." Benjamin's eyes were filled with sadness. "I'm so sorry this happened to you. This morning I didn't know what to do," Mercy said. I was walking without thinking. I didn't even care if a car hit me. Maybe it would be better if it did. Benjamin leaned forward. Don't say that. Your life is precious. What happened to you was evil, but it doesn't mean your life is over. Mercy looked at him with confusion. Why are you being so nice to me? You don't even know me. Benjamin smiled gently. Because someone helped me once when I was broken. And I promised myself I would do the same for others. He tapped his fingers on the table. What if, just for today, you let someone help you? Let me give you a safe place to rest. Mercy's heart pounded with fear. She had heard these words before. Mr. Williams had said similar things at first. No, she said quickly, shaking her head. I can't. I don't know you. Benjamin nodded slowly. That's fair. But hear me out. He reached into his wallet and placed a small ID card on the table. Mercy looked at it. It read, Benjamin Okafor, Director, Okafor Holdings. I won't touch you, Benjamin said firmly. I won't ask anything from you. I just want to take you somewhere safe where you can clean up, eat, and rest. After that, you decide what happens next. Mercy stared at the card. Her mind was racing. Could she trust him? Benjamin stood up and placed money on the table. I have a house not far from here. If you feel uncomfortable, I can call a woman I trust to stay with you. He looked at her with honest eyes. But please don't go back to the streets. Mercy looked down at her worn hands. She had nothing left to lose. What would Mercy decide? Would she trust this stranger, or would fear keep her trapped in her pain? Mercy climbed into the back seat of the SUV. Her heart was still beating fast. She kept her bag close to her chest like a shield. Benjamin started the engine and drove quietly through the streets of Port Harcourt. The car was clean and smelled fresh. The air conditioning cooled her hot skin. But Mercy couldn't relax. Her mind kept asking the same question over and over. What does he really want from me? She watched Benjamin from behind. He kept both hands on the wheel. He didn't turn around to look at her. He didn't ask more questions. That made her even more nervous. They left the busy highway and entered a quieter area. Trees lined both sides of the road. Soon they arrived at a tall black gate. Security guards saluted and pressed a button. The gate rolled open without a word. Mercy's eyes went wide. Inside was a beautiful compound with green grass, water fountains, and colorful flowers. The driveway curved toward a large cream-colored house that looked like something from a movie. She had never seen anything like it in her entire life. Benjamin parked the car and opened the back door for her. Come in. You'll be safe here. Mercy stepped out slowly. A middle-aged woman wearing a clean apron came out from the entrance. She had a kind face and warm eyes. Benjamin waved her over. Auntie Mary, please take her in. Give her something warm to eat and let her rest in the guest room. Yes, sir, Auntie Mary replied with a smile. Benjamin turned to Mercy. This is Auntie Mary. She's like family. She'll take care of you. I'll be in my office if you need anything. Before Mercy could say a word, Benjamin walked away into another part of the house. Auntie Mary led Mercy gently inside. My dear, come. You need a bath and food. Don't be afraid, okay? Mercy followed in silence. The house was even more beautiful inside. White tiles, glass doors, expensive furniture, paintings on the walls, a staircase that curved like something out of a dream. She was led upstairs to a room that smelled like roses. The bed was big with fresh white sheets. A soft robe was folded on the bed. A clean towel sat beside a shining bathroom door. You bathe, Auntie Mary said gently. When you come out, food will be ready. Mercy stepped inside the bathroom and locked the door. She stood before the mirror. Her face was dusty. Her hair was rough. Her clothes were stained. She looked like a stranger to herself. She took off her clothes and stepped under the warm water. The first drop touched her skin and she broke down. She cried hard. These were not tears of fear anymore. These were tears of release. She cried for her sick mother in Enugu. She cried for the job she lost because of lies. She cried for the cold floor she slept on the night before. She cried because she had felt so dirty and ashamed. The water washed it all away. When she finally stepped out and put on the robe, she felt almost human again. Still scared, still unsure, but cleaner. Lighter. Downstairs, a small meal was waiting for her. Fried plantain, white rice, and pepper stew. She ate slowly. Auntie Mary watched her with a smile. You are safe here, Mercy. Eat and rest. When she finished, Auntie Mary handed her a new dress. Olga bought this morning. He said he might meet someone who needed kindness today. Mercy's eyes widened. He bought this today? Yes, Auntie Mary nodded. He said a storm might bring a special visitor. That evening, Mercy sat in the guest room staring out the window at the garden. It had started to rain lightly. Drops slid down the glass like tiny footsteps. Then came a knock on the door. She turned. It was Benjamin. He stood at the door with a gentle smile. "Can I come in?" Mercy nodded slowly. Benjamin stepped inside and sat on a chair near the window. There was silence for a moment. Then he spoke. "You're wondering who I am. Why I helped you. Why I didn't just give you money and walk away." Mercy nodded. "My full name is Benjamin Okafor," he said. "I run an investment company. But that's not the full truth." He reached into his jacket and brought out a wallet. He opened it and showed her another ID. Mercy's breath stopped. It read, "Benjamin Okafor, son of President Okafor. National Identity Commission." Who was this man really? And why would someone so powerful stop for a poor maid on the street? Mercy stood up suddenly, her hand covering her mouth. You're the president's son?" Benjamin smiled gently. "Yes." She stepped back, shocked and confused. "Sir, I had no idea. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Benjamin raised his hand. "No. Don't apologize. You don't owe me that." Mercy's mind was spinning. "But why would someone like you stop for someone like me? I'm nobody. I'm just a maid." Benjamin's eyes softened. "You're not just a maid, Mercy. You're a woman with a heart, a voice, and a future. I see that. I see you." He stood up and walked to the window. "Years ago, I went through something very painful. People see the president's son and think life is perfect. But I've had my own darkness too." Mercy listened carefully, her heart still pounding. "One day when I was broken and alone, a woman helped me," Benjamin continued. "She didn't know who I was. She didn't care about my name or my family. She just saw someone who needed help. She gave me kindness when I had nothing." He turned to face Mercy. "I promised myself that day that whenever I saw someone hurting the way I hurt, I would do the same. I would help them." Tears filled Mercy's eyes again. "I don't know what to say." Benjamin smiled. "You don't have to say anything. You just have to believe this. Your life is not over. It's just beginning." Mercy wiped her face. "But what do I do now? I have no job. No money. My mother is sick and waiting for me in Enugu." Benjamin walked back to the chair and sat down. "Do you remember telling me yesterday that you loved cooking? That you dreamed of starting a food business one day?" Mercy blinked. "Yes, but that was just a dream. I never thought it could be real." Benjamin reached into his pocket and pulled out a black leather folder. He handed it to her. "Open it." Mercy's hands trembled as she opened the folder slowly. Inside were several clean documents. She looked at the first one and gasped. It had her name in bold letters at the top. Certificate of Business Name Registration. Mercy's Kitchen, Catering and Events. She flipped to the next page. A bank document showing a newly opened business account in her name. Then a third page. A land purchase agreement for a small shop space in Acadia. Mercy looked up at Benjamin, her mouth open. I don't understand." Benjamin leaned forward. "I used the morning hours to set everything up. There's 100,000 naira in that account. I've also arranged for a consultant to help you for the first 3 months. She'll teach you about menus, pricing, permits, and everything you need to know." Mercy's hands shook. 100,000 naira? "Yes," Benjamin nodded. "Benjamin," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. This is too much. I don't even know how to thank you." Benjamin shook his head. "It's not too much. It's only the beginning. What happened to you was unfair. But your future doesn't have to be shaped by that pain." He reached into his pocket again and brought out a small black velvet box. He placed it in her hands gently. "Open it," he said softly. Mercy opened the box slowly. Inside was a simple silver pendant shaped like a dove in mid-flight. Graceful. Free. Benjamin took it out and fastened it around her neck himself. "This dove represents hope, peace, and freedom. When you look in the mirror and see it, I want you to remember that your story didn't end on that street. It only started there." Mercy sobbed. Not from pain this time, but from the overwhelming weight of kindness. She clutched the pendant tightly and cried freely. Benjamin didn't say anything. He just waited. When she finally looked up, her eyes were red but glowing. "I feel like I'm dreaming." "You're not," Benjamin said. "This is your life now. You are in charge of it. Build it, protect it, and never forget what you've survived." Mercy wiped her face slowly. "But Benjamin, will I see you again?" Benjamin smiled gently. "When the time is right, yes. I have to travel abroad for work soon. But our story isn't finished. He stood up and walked to the door. A driver will take you to see your new shop tomorrow. You'll meet the consultant and start setting up your kitchen. He paused at the door and looked back. Promise me one thing. When you rise from this, help someone else someday. That's all I ask. Mercy nodded, her voice strong. I promise. Would Mercy truly rise from the ashes? And would she ever see Benjamin again? 3 weeks later, Mercy stood outside her new shop in Acadia. Workers were mounting a bright signboard above the door. It read, Mercy's Kitchen. Homemade goodness, heart-made dreams. The sun was warm on her skin. Children's laughter drifted from a nearby school. Mercy pressed her hand gently against the silver dove pendant resting on her chest. Everything had changed. Inside the shop, 2 young girls were wiping down tables. Another girl stood at the stove learning how to prepare Mercy's special pepper sauce. These were girls like her. Girls who had been dismissed unfairly. Girls with bruised hearts and broken pasts. Now they had hope. Mercy thought about Benjamin every single day. He had left Port Harcourt after helping her set up the basics. Since then he hadn't called. He hadn't sent any messages. She had no way to reach him directly. Sometimes she wondered if he would ever come back. Or if he had simply disappeared the way miracles often do, quietly and without warning. That evening, Mercy sat in her modest apartment scrolling through the news on her phone. She was sipping Zobo and relaxing after a long day at the shop. Suddenly she stopped at a headline that made her freeze. Breaking news. President's son, Benjamin Okafor, opens multi-million naira tech hub in Abuja. She clicked on it quickly. There he was, wearing a navy blue suit, shaking hands with important people. Cameras flashed around him. People smiled and clapped. Mercy stared at the screen. Her heart pounded in her chest. He really is the president's son. Tears filled her eyes. Not from pain but from awe. The man who sat across from her in that roadside cafe. The man who handed her water and listened without judgment. The man who gave her dignity when she had nothing. He was a prince in disguise. She clicked off the screen, too overwhelmed to keep reading. The pendant on her chest felt heavier now, as though it carried not just silver, but memory. 2 days later, Mercy arrived at the shop early in the morning. A letter was waiting for her on the counter. It had been delivered by a private courier. No return address. Just her name written in clean handwriting across the envelope. With trembling fingers, she opened it. Mercy, by now you've probably seen the news. I told you I'd be watching from afar. You've done more than I imagined. Not just building a business but building people. I won't ask for thanks. This was never about me. It was about you seeing the strength you already had. The dove you wear isn't just a symbol of peace. It's a promise. When you least expect it, I will return. Not as a stranger but as a friend. Until then, keep flying. Benjamin. Mercy pressed the letter to her chest. She smiled through her tears. That afternoon, a young girl passed by the shop. She was barefoot, carrying a tray of oranges on her head. Her eyes were downcast. Her clothes were torn. She looked tired and sad. Mercy opened the door and called gently. Sister, are you hungry? The girl turned, surprised. Yes, Ma. Mercy smiled warmly. Come in. You're safe here. The girl hesitated, then slowly walked inside. Mercy handed her a plate of jollof rice and chicken. The girl's eyes lit up. She ate quickly, like someone who hadn't had a proper meal in days. When she finished, Mercy asked, What's your name? Blessing, the girl whispered. Blessing, Mercy repeated. That's a beautiful name. Do you have somewhere to stay tonight? The girl shook her head, tears filling her eyes. No, ma. My madam sent me away. She said I stole her money, but I didn't. I would never do that. Mercy's heart broke. She saw herself in this girl. The pain, the fear, the shame. She knelt down and looked Blessing in the eyes. I believe you. And you don't have to go back to the streets. You can work here with me. I'll teach you how to cook. I'll give you a place to sleep. And I'll treat you with respect. Blessing's mouth opened in shock. You would do that for me? Mercy smiled and touched the dove pendant around her neck. Yes, because someone once did it for me. Blessing began to cry. But these were not tears of sadness. They were tears of relief. Tears of hope. As the door closed behind them, the dove pendant glinted softly in the morning light. What would happen next in Mercy's life? Would Benjamin truly return as he promised? 6 months passed like a gentle breeze. Mercy's Kitchen had become one of the most talked about catering businesses in Acadia. People came from all over Lagos to taste her jollof rice, her pepper soup, and her famous chin-chin. But Mercy was proudest of something else. She now employed 8 young women. All of them had stories like hers. Stories of pain, betrayal, and rejection. Now they had smiles on their faces and money in their pockets. Mercy had kept her promise to Benjamin. One Saturday morning, Mercy was in the kitchen preparing for a big catering order. Blessing was beside her, chopping vegetables and humming a gospel song. The other girls were laughing and working together. Suddenly the door opened. A man walked in wearing simple clothes, a white shirt and black trousers. He had a cap pulled low over his face. Mercy looked up from the stove. "Good morning, sir. Welcome to Mercy's kitchen. How can we help you?" The man removed his cap slowly. Mercy's knife dropped from her hand and clattered on the floor. It was Benjamin. "Benjamin?" she whispered, her voice shaking. He smiled, that same gentle smile she remembered. "Hello, Mercy." She ran to him without thinking. She hugged him tightly and cried on his shoulder. "You came back. You really came back." Benjamin hugged her gently. "I told you I would." The other girls in the kitchen stopped working and stared in confusion. Blessing whispered, "Who is that man?" Mercy pulled away and wiped her tears. "This is Benjamin. The man who saved my life." Benjamin looked around the shop. He saw the clean tables, the busy kitchen, the smiling faces of the young women working. His eyes filled with pride. "You did it, Mercy," he said softly. "You didn't just survive. You thrived. And you brought others with you." Mercy nodded, her heart overflowing. "I learned from the best." Benjamin reached into his pocket and pulled out another envelope. He handed it to her. "Open it." Mercy opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a contract. She read the words slowly, her eyes growing wider with each line. It was a partnership agreement. Benjamin's company wanted to invest in Mercy's kitchen. They would help her expand to 3 more locations across Lagos. They would provide training, equipment, and support. "Benjamin, this is..." Mercy couldn't finish her sentence. "You've proven yourself," Benjamin said. "Now it's time to grow. But this time you're not doing it alone. We're partners." Mercy looked at Blessing and the other girls. They were all watching with hopeful eyes. She thought about her mother in Enugu, who was now healthy because Mercy could afford her medication. She thought about the street where she almost gave up. She touched the dove pendant around her neck. "Yes," she said firmly. "I accept." Benjamin smiled and shook her hand. "Then let's build something beautiful together." That evening, Mercy and Benjamin sat on a bench outside the shop. The sun was setting over Lagos, painting the sky orange and pink. "Can I ask you something?" Mercy said quietly. "Anything," Benjamin replied. "Why didn't you come back sooner?" Benjamin looked at the sky. "Because you needed to do this on your own first. You needed to know that your strength came from inside you, not from me. I was just the match. You were always the fire." Mercy smiled through her tears. "Thank you, Benjamin. Not just for the money or the shop. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible." Benjamin nodded. "And thank you for keeping your promise. You didn't just rise. You lifted others with you. That's the real miracle." They sat in comfortable silence as the sun disappeared below the horizon. Mercy's story had started with betrayal and pain. It had taken her to the darkest place she'd ever known. But it didn't end there. It ended with hope, with purpose, with dignity restored. Because sometimes the worst moments in our lives are simply doorways. Doorways to becoming who we were always meant to be. And sometimes, when we least expect it, a stranger appears. Not to save us, but to remind us that we were never meant to stay broken. Mercy looked at the dove pendant one more time. Then she looked at Benjamin and smiled. Her name was Mercy. And she had finally found her wings. We've come to the end of today's story. I hope it touched your heart. Thanks for watching and staying with us till the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you in the next one. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from?